No one tells you this, but the moment she decides you're not the one is usually quiet. No fight, no dramatic goodbye, just a shift you don't notice until it's already over. You're still texting her the same way, still trying, still thinking things are fixable. Meanwhile, she's already emotionally packed her bags. You've probably lived this without realizing it. Things felt good in the beginning. She was responsive, present, emotionally open. Conversations flowed. There was curiosity, effort. You felt chosen. Then something changed. She didn't say it directly. She never does. Replies got slower. Energy dropped. The warmth turned into politeness. You started feeling like you were trying to recreate something that used to happen naturally. And instead of stepping back, you leaned in harder. You texted more, explained more, tried to fix things she never clearly complained about. You thought consistency would bring her back. It didn't. Because the moment she decided you're not the one wasn't about one mistake. It was about a pattern she started seeing. Here's the part that stings. Attraction isn't just about how much you care. It's about how she feels around you over time. And when those feelings shift from excitement to emotional heaviness, the decision starts forming. Psychologically, this is where attachment dynamics kick in. If she leans avoidant, she begins to feel suffocated when emotional intensity rises too quickly. If she leans anxious, she initially craves closeness, but loses respect when she senses you're more emotionally dependent than grounded. Either way, the balance breaks. What used to feel natural now feels like pressure, and pressure kills attraction faster than rejection ever will. There's also a dopamine component most people ignore. In the early stage, unpredictability, curiosity, and emotional tension create dopamine spikes. That's what makes interactions feel addictive. But when you become too available, too predictable, too emotionally invested too early, those spikes disappear. You think you're building connection. She starts feeling boredom. And boredom, in dating, is often misinterpreted as something is missing. That's when the silent decision begins. Not because you're a bad person, but because the emotional experience you provide no longer matches what her mind associates with attraction. Now let's get brutally honest. Most men don't lose women because they don't care enough. They lose them because they care in a way that removes all challenge, all mystery, and all emotional tension. They over-explain, over-validate, over-pursue. They make her the center of their emotional world before she's earned that position. And without realizing it, they shift the dynamic. From man she's attracted to man she feels responsible for. That's the exact moment respect starts fading. And once respect fades, attraction follows. You might think, but I was just being genuine. No, you were being uncalibrated. Genuine without awareness is just emotional exposure without control. Now from her side, this doesn't feel evil or manipulative. She doesn't sit there planning to lose feelings. It happens internally. Women are highly sensitive to emotional shifts. They track how they feel in your presence more than what you say. If she starts feeling pressure, expectation, or subtle neediness, her brain begins associating you with emotional discomfort. And once that association forms, it's hard to reverse. Men, on the other hand, process this differently. A man can stay attracted even when things feel slightly off, because his attraction is more visually and physically anchored. A woman's attraction is more psychological and emotional. If the emotional experience declines, attraction declines with it. That's why you can feel like nothing major went wrong, but everything still fell apart. Now here's the hardest truth most people avoid. The moment she decides you're not the one, you usually feel it. But instead of accepting it, you try to fight it. You try to prove your worth, convince her, fix the vibe. And that's exactly what pushes her further away. Because attraction isn't negotiated. It's experienced. The more you try to logically solve an emotional shift, the more unnatural the interaction becomes. And she feels that. This is where most people destroy whatever chance was left. Not when things started fading, but in how they reacted to it. They abandon self-respect in the name of love. They chase clarity from someone who's already emotionally checked out. They keep investing in a version of the connection that no longer exists. And that desperation confirms her decision. Now here's the shift you need to understand. The goal is not to become someone who never cares. The goal is to become someone who remains emotionally stable even when things are uncertain. Someone who doesn't collapse when attention changes. Someone who can recognize a shift and respond with awareness, not panic. Because the truth is, People don't choose the one based on effort alone. They choose based on how they feel consistently over time. And that feeling is influenced by your emotional control, your boundaries, and your ability to not lose yourself in the process. If you make someone your priority before they've shown consistent investment, you create imbalance. And imbalance quietly kills attraction. So what do you actually do differently? You stop trying to secure people through overgiving. You let connection build at a pace that allows both people to invest. You pay attention to behavior, not just words. And when you feel someone pulling back, you don't chase. You observe. You match energy. You protect your emotional state instead of handing it over. Because the person who is right for you doesn't require you to abandon yourself to keep them. And more importantly, they don't make you feel like you're slowly losing them while you're trying your hardest to hold on. Here's the line most people realize too late. She didn't leave suddenly. She left in stages, and you ignored every one of them. Sometimes the moment she decides you're not the one is the moment you start trying to prove that you are.